Come on. There we go. Okay, 10-10-10 fertilizer. Welcome back to College Hill Farm. Well, today we're out in the garden. Going to plant some corn this morning. Now, it is May the 30th. It's going to be a great day for planting corn. That bag of fertilizer you just saw me open, it's 10-10-10. 10 potassium, 10 nitrogen, phosphorus. There we go. Let's go look at the bag. It's bad. Anyhow, when I get fertilizer like that, I never open the bag, okay, until I'm ready to put it in a bucket. This fertilizer's from 2 years ago. I paid $13 for it 2 years ago, and I used the other bag last year, I use a bag about every 2 years, so I bought 2 bags. This was $13 2 years ago, $13.95 or $13.50, I don't remember. I looked the other day, and they're $22 a bag for a 50-pound bag. It's like, wow. Everything. Anyhow, yes, I use that kind of fertilizer. No, my homestead is not organic. Just so you know, that was made by an organic process, though. Organic used to mean a different thing back when I was in college and was taking organic chemistry. But that's neither here nor there. There's another tree down. I've got so many trees down. We had a big storms. Lost power for about 10 hours. But we single phase for part of that. So I had to turn my heat pump off and all that stuff. I hope I didn't lose a freezer. So far, so good. Now, anytime you get that kind of fertilizer, if you leave it out to the air, it will accumulate moisture. That bag, if there was a hole in it, that bag would be full of water. Okay? That fertilizer is water loving. It will soak water right out of the air, suck it right out. So, but it still had plenty of ammonia smell when I opened the bag. So this fertilizer will be just fine. You can keep it for years. I keep fertilizer up to 2 years in these white plastic jugs. 1 50-pound bag of fertilizer. And I don't think these are, I think these are 3-gallon buckets. They might be 5-gallon buckets, but I don't think so. I don't know exactly. I don't remember where I got them. I think they had lard or something in them. I don't remember. I bought them for $1 from somebody on the side of the road. Anyhow, the bucket, the lids fit good and tight. most of the buckets, if you bought a 5-gallon bucket at Harbor Freight, would do the same thing. But as long as the bucket lid fits tight, your fertilizer will be good for a couple of years in there. Might it get weak after a couple of years? Yeah, it might. So, you know, you have to use a little more of it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to plant candy corn today. And let me show you what we're going to do. Now, yesterday I came out and plowed. Of course, you can see over here's my tomatoes. I've got tomatoes right there. I've got a row there, a row right there, and then a row over here. So I've got tomatoes out through there, 300 feet of tomatoes. This is a 100-foot row garden. That's the way I set my gardens up. So it's a 100-foot row. Now, you can see where I've plowed. I plowed here, then I plowed all the way through there, and you can see how wide my tiller is. My tiller is that wide, and then that wide again, and then that wide again. So what I want to do, or what I don't want to do, I don't want to get so close to these tomatoes because I'm going to put big cages on them and put posts in the ground and to hold them up and all that stuff. I don't want to get too close to them planting my corn. So I'm going to come over here, and this row is not perfectly straight with the tomatoes. And if you're afraid that you can't get your stuff perfectly straight, you probably shouldn't garden, okay? So, just saying, you know, if you've got a problem with that, you probably shouldn't garden. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to skip over and not put them right here, but I'm going to put them in the next part over, right in there. I'm going to put 2 rows of corn about a foot apart, right side by side, and then we'll go from there. Sweet corn is the most expensive crop that I plant. And I know you go, well, really? That's the most expensive crop? Absolutely it is. A pound of this candy corn now costs about $19. Okay? So a half pound is whatever it is. So when I buy this, I put about a half a pound a time in the garden. That plants 4 100-foot rows, a half a pound of candy corn. Now what I've got here, of course I put my candy corn up in a baggie every year. This is some from oh no, that's hickory cane. There's the candy corn. Oh, I might have to go buy some. Yeah, this was half a pound. I might have to go buy some. Or go look and see if I got some more. Anyway, how do I plant it? I use my earthway planter. Now, I've got an earthway planter. You just push it and it drops the corn seed. These little plates rotate and drop the corn seed. When this plate has rotated a full 360 degrees, one full rotation, this planter has rolled 3 feet a row, 36 inches. So all you have to do if you want to find out how many seeds it's going to drop, 1, 2, 3, got my hands full. This plate right here is for planting, and it says on it large peas. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It'll plant 12 seeds in 3 feet. 12 goes into 36 3 times, so it's going to plant a seed every 3 inches. Okay? Now, my sweet corn, I have a specific plate for it. Here it is. Sweet corn, it's going to put in every 36 inches. It's going to put in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's going to put in 5, going to drop 5 sweet corn seeds. Well, what does that do? 5 goes into 36, 7 times. So down through there, a little bit more than 7 inches apart, it's going to drop a corn seed. So this is going to be every 7 inches down through there, I've got sweet corn. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant the rows about a foot, between 8 inches and a foot apart, and they'll have 2 rows of sweet corn side by side. I'll explain at the end why I do it that way. Alright, because there's method to the madness, and I've been doing it this way for quite a few years now, and it works out really good. So let's get down here and plant some corn. Okay, that's 2 rows of candy corn in. Okay, here we are. Right there's 2 rows, and right there's 2 rows. Separated between them is about between 7 and 8 feet. That way I can drive my tractor down through biome and cultivate even after they're big, so I don't have all that extra work. Okay, now each double row down through here needs to get 5 pounds of fertilizer, alright, at about 50 cents a pound, so that's $2.50 per row. $5 for the 4 rows. Not per row, but per 2 rows. So, rather than carry that big 5-gallon bucket, I keep these $25 Dollar Tree buckets. I buy 10 or 12 every 2 years. I haven't bought any in the last 2 or 3 years. I've got plenty of them left over. So these are what I use for carrying the loads down in the garden. So let's get down through here. Now, the way I do this is a 20 ounce pop bottle that I've just cut off, right there is about a pound of fertilizer. Okay, so that you see that up to the marks there at the center of the thing. That's about a pound of fertilizer. I'll need to put 5 of those on this, in each double row of this corn. Okay, the fertilizer is down, the corn is down. Now, why do I say corn is my most expensive crop? Well, I have to buy sweet corn seed. Okay, my hickory cane corn, I save my own seed because it's an heirloom corn. But the candy corn, which is a super sweet variety that we just love, I have to buy a seed for that. Now, seed is going about $20 a pound this year for candy corn. So I bought my seed 2 years ago. It's time for me to buy seed again. I'll probably buy 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds because it keeps from year to year. Okay, it'll keep for about 4 years. All right, 4 or 5. So, yeah, you can buy up 4 years worth of candy corn if you know how much you use. Now, for those 4 100-foot rows, I put down about a third of a pound of candy corn. Okay, a third of a pound, maybe even less than that, but I'm going to say a third for the math. So, in other words, I put down about $7 worth of candy corn, $6.50. Okay, let's say $6.50. $6.50 worth of candy corn. Now, right now I buy my fertilizer in 50-pound bags, and it was $21 a bag. It should be 21 divided by 50. There we go, 42 cents a pound. Well, I put 12 pounds down through there, times 12. That's $5. So I had $5 worth of fertilizer, and I had $6.50, so $11.50 into this corn. Now, I will not fertilize it again. I've probably got 50 cents worth of tractor gas. Okay, so let's say $12. I've got $12 in these 4 rows of corn. And that's enough tractor gas to have plowed and cultivated them in the whole bit, okay? Just for that little section of corn. So, I'm into this corn $12. What will I get out of that? Well, typically, I get about 90 to 100 dozen, or not 90 to 100 dozen. I get 90 to 100 ears of corn per double row. Okay, so we're talking about 170, 180 ears of corn. Alright? So my corn is a lot less than it would cost me to go to the store and buy it. And it's fresh, and it's sweet, and it's delicious. Okay, it's cost me a little effort, but that's the way you stay healthier, getting out and doing this stuff. Okay, so if I get 180 ears of corn, 12 divided by 180, that's 7 cents an ear. 7 cents an ear for corn. Can you buy that at the store for that? Absolutely not. Yes, I've got money invested in tractors, and yes, I've got money invested in my earthway planter. My earthway planter is 15 years old, and it's paid for itself over and over and over. Okay, and saved time. I let that run in real time, so you saw how long it took me to go to the end of the row and back. Okay, so the earthway planter saves so much time. When I was a kid, we'd go down through there and drop the corn. We'd drop 2 seeds or 3, and then move down, drop 2 or 3, and took all the way down the row. It took forever. You'd have to drop the seeds and cover, drop the seeds and cover. Back then, you dropped 2 corn seeds and 2 bean seeds. Okay, or 3 corn seeds and 3 bean seeds, just depending on what we were planting. So, yeah, where are you going to buy corn for 7 cents an ear? Ain't nobody selling it for that. $6 a dozen. Okay, I promised you that at the end I would tell you why I plant my corn that way. Now, corn is one of those things. My grandmother, Mom's mom, Granny, she used to say that you always plant corn 4 rows wide. They planted in individual rows about 24 inches apart, okay? And 12 inches between the hills. down the row. And that way they could do a tiller or do a Kentucky wheel hoe or whatever down that row and keep the weeds out of the center, and the corn would be close enough that it would still make. Or in other words, it would fertilize itself. Have you ever got into the cornfield and you looked and your corn was good size ears, but the kernels weren't full all down through there. There weren't kernels all the way around your corn and all the way up the ear. There were holes, or at the end there weren't no kernels that were fertilized, that were kernels. It's just little nothing. Okay, little nubs. Well, what that's caused by is lack of fertilization. The way corn fertilizes itself and makes a seed is that the tassels on the top of the corn shake and the pollen rains down on the silks. And when the pollen gets on the silk, the corn is fertilized. So it makes a seed there. Every kernel of corn on that cob is a seed made from a silk. There's a silk that goes to every kernel. Okay, and it has to be fertilized by the pollen from the top of the corn. Alright, so in the old times when they raised Golden Cross Bantam and that kind of thing, the heirloom varieties, the corn had to be at least 4 rows across so the wind could pollinate the ears successfully. Well, I don't know if I could do Golden Cross Bantam this way, but I suspect I could, because I've got the rows so close together. I put those rows close together, and that makes a whole canopy of corn tassels. When they tassel out, it makes a whole canopy of tassels always raining down. So you've got 2 corn stalks raining on each one. If the wind's blowing this way, it's getting it. If the wind's blowing that way, it's getting it. Or if it's blowing the 4 directions, it doesn't matter. The pollen is raining down on your corn, making good full ears. So I found that 2 rows real close together, between 8 and a foot apart, 8 inches and a foot apart, is sufficient to do that. And what that does for me is it means that I can till beside the 2 rows, and when I hoe, it's just like hoeing 1 row of corn. Okay, I just have to keep the weeds cut out. I think I hoe twice or 3 times a year in the corn, maybe 3 times, and then I let it go. Once the corn is chest high, I don't hoe in there anymore. And most of the time, I don't have to hoe at all. If I plant beans in between them corn, which I'm not doing this year, I'm not planting beans. We've got a freezers full of beans and I don't need any more. But if I plant down those rows beans, a row of beans in between that corn, it shades the weeds out and I don't have to hoe at all. Okay, I don't hoe not one time. The beans grow up, they shade the center part out, the corn grows up, the beans run up the corn, and as long as I plow close on each side, it doesn't need input from me other than that. So that's why I plant this way. Okay, so now if you like this stuff, this homesteading, do-it-yourself kind of thing, be certain to come on out to the channel and subscribe. We do this homesteading stuff every week, sometimes 1, sometimes 5 videos. Just depends on what's going on in the homestead this week. Now, if you hit the little bell when you come to the channel, it'll be right up here. It'll notify you when we upload a video. We upload on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Now, with that being said, it's time for me to get on to the next thing.